for people on the spectrum, the stress response heightens what's already wired differently in a way that makes it even more difficult to push past the anxiety and connect. And the connection is the thing that's insulatory towards depression, towards anxiety, towards isolation, towards suicide long term.
Here's the truth. Life doesn't come with a manual for you when your nervous system is on overload. But today you're going to hear from someone who's lived it and found ways to navigate. My guest is Kara Nash. She is an autistic advocate, mental health nurse who knows firsthand what it means to unmask, face sensory overwhelm, and still show up with resilience. This conversation isn't theory. It's tools, stories, and insight that you can use right now to understand yourself or someone you love a little better.
Today, I am welcoming Kara. A lot of roles, a lot of experience, especially within the realm of autism. And today I wanted to talk about how dropping that mask can help us to heal. So could you explain what masking is and what unmasking feels like?
Sure. And Erin, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to have this conversation with you and with the folks listening. And I just want to caveat with I am one person on the spectrum and everyone's a little bit different. I do work with lots of people on the spectrum and have for the last 8 years solely. So I have a little bit of information to draw on, but also it's a big world out there. So what resonates, please take it with you. And what doesn't, please leave it here.
I love
So for me, unmasking is something that is almost like coming out as gay. Like you choose to do it over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes, and sometimes you don't choose it. It's so annoying.
Yeah, true. Sometimes you get a label that's not even perhaps the proper label, but it's still othering and it still puts distance or judgment that may feel really unfair or really confusing.
And it just overwhelms that nervous system. For me, sometimes it feels like all these little micro traumas.
Yeah, definitely the nervous system overwhelm is pretty. Can I address that for just a second? The biology of it?
Please.
So my background is as a mental health nurse. I've been a mental health nurse for over 20 years and have been in a lot of different settings, inpatient, outpatient, Medicaid waiver, just a lot of different places. And one of my special interests is neurology. So I think it's really interesting. Any brain on stress, different parts of the brain do different things. We all kind of know that, I think. You can liken it to when someone has a stroke. If the stroke is in like the Wernicke area of the brain, their speech will be affected. So for people who are stressed out, this is anyone, there are changes in the hippocampus, which is the memory center, the amygdala, which regulates the nervous system's response to threat or perceived threat, and also in the frontal cortex, which handles executive functioning like planning, organization, especially thought and conversation. So these things kind of go offline in stress. The amygdala revs itself up and it becomes hyperactive to the environment. It floods the body with cortisol, which increases the blood pressure. The hippocampus goes offline, so you may have difficulty with recall. The frontal cortex goes offline, so you might have a hard time planning your day or remembering to get to appointments. So I say all that to say...
Using those coping skills that you've practiced.
Right. And the autistic brain already has these organic brain changes. On functional MRI, we see differences in the hippocampus, the amygdala, the frontal cortex, and a bunch of other places too. But the point I'm trying to make is that for people on the spectrum, the stress response heightens what's already wired differently in a way that makes it even more difficult to push past the anxiety and connect. And the connection is the thing that's insulatory towards depression, towards anxiety, towards isolation, towards suicide long term. And by masking, what we're doing is, or make claim it for myself, masking is a constant state of hypervigilance. It's a constant state of anxiety. It's a constant state of trying to stay like a chess game, 3 steps ahead, 6 steps ahead, depending on the setting. And what it does is it can take a real toll on the body because we're not designed to be in that cortisol, that flood of cortisol response long term. A lot of people know this. It's that fight or flight response. It's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and was designed to help us run from predators. We weren't supposed to be there 8 hours a day.
Is there a way to help, like, calm it down, get it processed? I just hate the idea of so many people walking around with their nervous systems completely overwhelming them.
There's some techniques that I definitely advocate for and use myself. One's called the do-over. And I suggest practicing this with people that know you well. And then you can use it in bigger situations. But for instance, I might say, I don't like that shirt. And then walk away and be like, oh crap. I meant I don't like the color, not like I did. And then I get in my head. I might perseverate over it for a very long time. So the do-over is just, hey, when I said I don't like that shirt, I meant I don't like it for me because they're colors that I don't enjoy, but it looks good on you. And just simple in and out. Like, don't over explain, don't go too far with it, just like a simple little redo. Another example of things like that, I was walking into the REI and I was parked next to a car that had a really lovely Thule roof rack. And I like gear, so I was kind of dorking out on it. And the woman started walking towards the car. It was obviously her car. So we're passing, and I looked at her and I said, hey, nice rack. And she gave me the strangest look. Until I got home and recounted the story to a friend, I had no idea that I had just perhaps been inappropriately
Commenting on her body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So sometimes we just don't know what we're saying in a neurotypical lens, and it's okay to just do it over. It's okay to just do it over.
I love the do-over and giving yourself permission, and I also love that you're not apologizing because you shouldn't have to apologize all the time just for being.
It's not good for your nervous system to do that, to apologize all the time. If that's all you're registering, is it reinforces that I don't fit, I'm wrong, everything is not built for me paradigm, which is easy to fall into and very not healthy for our brains or for anyone's brain. So the do-over is definitely, I think, a good tool. It's a really good tool in interpersonal relationship, even if you aren't on the spectrum.
Oh, but yeah, I absolutely am going to use that because I put my foot in my mouth all the time.
Me too. I usually don't notice I'm doing it. And then like telling other people, hey, if I say something that seems a little weird, ask me a follow-up question. I'm not an unkind person. I just sometimes use words that come out in a way that can be interpreted as different than how I meant them to be. I don't even know how they're interpreted. So that helps too. Knowing that being a neurodiverse advocate or someone who's supportive of people who are neurodiverse, if you give them the grace of, hey, that was kind of weird. What do you mean by that?
Giving them the opportunity to explain and show up as themselves.
Exactly.
Not making those assumptions.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't think anyone wants to hurt anyone's feelings. Or maybe some people do, but no one that I've come in contact with. Like, generally, we want smooth, clean communication, connection. We're going to have disagreements and not see things the same way, and that's okay. But yeah, that's another very empowering statement is we don't have to agree with each other. We're just listening to each other.
Oh, I love that. And that can be used by anybody, anywhere. And I wish we do more of that.
Yeah. Yeah. A more practical tool that I have is, actually, this is called the Visible Band.
So anybody at home listening and not watching, it's a black band around your upper arm. And what is it called?
That's correct. It's called a visible band.
Visible. Okay, I've not heard of this.
Yeah, it's really great. So you probably know one of the challenges is with autism can be proprioception issues, like not knowing what's going on, not being able to name a feeling, not really understanding what anxious because we're unmasked until we're way too anxious, or when we're masked, not realizing we're getting anxious because we think we're doing well. What this little guy does is it measures your heart rate, and it measures your heart rate variability. That's the only thing it does. But the app, will allocate after it gets your baseline how many points you have, like how much heart rate variability you can take in a day before you're going to go into burnout.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's really cool. And you can tag activities. Like I tag my different clients in their sessions to see how, because I want my clients to be able to co-regulate to me. And if I'm not regulated, I need to know about it because I need to do more prep work for them if I'm not regulated. But it really helps me when I'm like, oh, I'm digging myself into a hole, because it'll vibrate when you've been tachycardic for a certain length of time.
Okay,
So it's a
that's
tactile
cool.
input of like, okay, that's vibrating. What am I doing that is maybe not me?
Oh, I
Or
love
maybe
that.
getting
It
away from me.
forces a pause to check in with yourself.
Exactly. But I highly recommend it. It only does the one thing. It charges for 5 days, so you don't have to worry about it too
Can
much. Just sleep
anybody
with it.
use this?
Yeah, it was designed for people with chronic illness to understand how to budget their energy.
Oh,
But
okay. Like the spoons. I only have so many spoons today.
yeah, and certain things that like I wouldn't think costs a lot, like therapy, for instance, costs me no energy, which is surprising because I talk about some very difficult things in therapy.
I am surprised.
But going to the grocery store, my heart rate's in the 120s the entire time. If I wear headphones, it's a little lower. If I wear dark sunglasses, it's a little lower. So, like the idea of being able to check in to see if your sensory coping tools are working gives you the capacity to be unmasked a little bit longer, or to know, okay, it'll also say tomorrow you need to have an easy day because you overexerted yourself today.
Oh, I just love the idea of checking in and then giving yourself permission to give yourself what you need.
Absolutely. And that's a hard thing to do, and it's a privileged thing to do, and I acknowledge that. Not everybody can just stop.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think, one of the reasons why our unemployment rate, people on the spectrum's unemployment rate is so high, because we do need to stop and reset. And a 40-hour, 50-hour work week, it just doesn't afford that opportunity.
No, but I don't understand why we're doing that, period, for anybody, because it's not healthy for anybody. And the whole point of being able to have computers and now AI was so that we could work less.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was the point, wasn't it?
Yeah, not just for people to keep getting rich.
I like that idea better.
Yeah. That's me on my soapbox. Before we close, I just want to do a little guided practice, unless you have something.
No, by all means, thank you for letting me talk it through and for being a place where people can speak their truth without fear of being judged, and somewhere where I can be unmasked.
Well, I am privileged and so honored to have you feel that you can be unmasked. So thank you. All right. I always need a moment to kind of process everything and force myself to have a pause, because I don't have that armband thing, which I am going to look into. What is that called again?
Visible.
Visible.
It makes the symptoms that you can't see because they're a silent disability visible.
Ooh, I love that. We're just going to take a moment. We're going to close our eyes or look at the ground, whatever feels safe to you, and take a nice slow deep breath in and out. The second time, if you feel comfortable, you can cross your arms or put your hands on your knees. Just do a nice slow back and forth, right, left, little lateral stimulation to calm that nervous system. Gently say to yourself or think, I am seen, I am safe, I don't have to hide. One last time. I am seen, I am safe, you don't have to hide. Take a slow deep breath. If somebody wants to learn more about you and your knowledge and everything you're doing in the world. How can we find you?
Thanks for asking. Um, my website is theautismconsultant.com. My YouTube channel has the same name. My website has a lot of blogs with resources on it. I function a lot as a case manager as far as hooking people up with resources, evaluating, is it worth getting tested as an adult? Is it not worth getting tested? My YouTube channel is a lot of just the daily things that come up for someone on the spectrum. And I have a surprising number of folks that are middle-aged women, which is cool because we're not a group that like often of autistics that often congregate
Mhm.
together unless there's like a sci-fi convention. But that was a joke. But true. But yeah, so come on over and join the conversation. The YouTube comments, it's really fun to see people starting to support each other. That's been kind of new in the last year. So I really enjoy the dialogue there. And I pop in and say hi quite often. So I'd love to hear from anybody that's got a question or something they'd like me to do a short or a video on.
Before we say goodbye, I just want to pause and acknowledge how much Kara shared with us today. Sometimes hearing someone else's story is exactly the reminder we need that we're not alone and that small adjustments can bring big relief. So let's take a deep breath together before we head out. And again, thank you to Kara for her openness and her insight from sensory friendly clothing to everyday ways to support ourselves. You'll find her resources linked in the show notes below. So don't miss them. And as always, remember your healing isn't selfish, it's necessary.